Hey, good evening, everyone. Uh, I would like to welcome you all to Akshay Patra's first national virtue event, New Year's and New Possibilities. I'm Paul Varghese. I will be your host for today or for tonight, wherever you are. I hope everyone's ready for an informative evening as I chat with the new CEO, Naveen Goel, and the Vice Chair, Srivatsan Rajan. My name is Paul Varghese, like I said before, and I will be conducting today's event. Did you know, by the way, that Akshay Patra, or AP for short, is in its 22nd year of operation? They run 60 kitchens that currently feed 1.8 million underprivileged children a warm, nutritious meal every school day across India. Their midday meal program gives children an opportunity to actualize their dreams, hopes, and aspirations by nourishing their minds with specially curated ingredients approved by experts to ensure that these growing children receive the right amount of lipids, micronutrients, calories, and proteins necessary for healthy development. Akshay Patra USA is ready for 2022. It's a new year with new possibilities. And with the new CEO at the helm, new chapters are being added throughout the US, a newly aligned team that is ready to support and grow the midday meal program to its current capacity of feeding 2.5 million children with all of your support. And of course, AP is ready to realize their vision that no child in India will be deprived of an education because of hunger. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Naveen Goel, the new CEO of Akshay Patra Foundation USA. Naveen joins AP after an incredibly successful career as former CIO of Capgemini, a global leader in consulting technology and outsourcing services. Naveen was also the former chairman and CEO of Sogati USA, a subsidiary of Capgemini. We also have Sri Vasan Rajan, also known as Sri, who is the vice chairman and a board member of AP. He's also the chair of their advisory council in India. He's currently a partner at Coda Capital, an early stage investing firm in San Francisco. Prior to this, Sri was a senior partner in the San Francisco office of Bain and Company and was at one point in time the chairman of their India operations. Apart from being an investor, apart from being an investor in multiple startups, Sri has also been involved with multiple social organizations in India. So please welcome Naveen Goel and Srivatsan Raja.
Hi, Paul. Hi, guys. If you can hear me, this is Naveen, and thank you for the little bit of the patience. We had a little bit of a technical glitch here, so apologize for that and appreciate your patience. But now that Paul is online and me and Shri are here, hopefully we can kick it off, and we're really excited to have you here. Thank you for joining us today. Paul, back to you.
So Naveen, tell me real quick, why did you get involved with Akshay Patra in the first place, and what has your involvement been since you've joined it?
Paul, that's an interesting question. Why did I join Akshay Patra? I mean, I could give a very long, winding answer, but a simple answer is, I'm grown up to be 25 years dedicated to education, 25 years to the family, and I thought the next 25 years is for everyone else, and that's what brought me to Akshay Patra, and that's why I'm here. And my involvement has been that I took charge in December 1st of last year. It's been about 3 months, and it's been an excellent, exciting opportunity for me to learn a lot about Akshay Patra. And I hope all the family of Akshay Patra that I will be able to do everything in my power to help support and grow the mission that we have at hand, which is get to the 5 million kids in India every day the midday meal that is served in their school and which is sometimes their only meal. And that's the mission of Akshay Patra. That's what I want to do. And that's what I'm dedicated to for the next part of my life.
We have me, but do we have Sri?
He signed up, but due to the technical challenges, he might have, taken a break. I'm sure they can hunt him down. But meanwhile, um, Paul, please, go ahead, and I will try to, give you the glimpses, that we would have preferred Shri to answer, but I'm happy to do so.
Okay. Okay, so this is what I was going to ask Ray. So going to school doesn't always mean that a child is learning. Like in India specifically, can you expand on the challenges that children face when it comes to obtaining an education? And do you think those challenges are a global issue as well?
I think a very valid question, Paul. The going to school is just a necessary condition sometimes to start the educational process. It's not a sufficient condition. Now, one of the big imperatives in all of us and all our lives we have seen to focus on anything, to acquire knowledge, to study a book, or even to enjoy a cinema, you can't do it with an empty stomach. And that's where Akshay Patra comes in. And so we are basically taking out the singular impediment, which is a hungry stomach does not make a good student. So we take that obstacle out, and it clearly improves enrollment. There are lots of other hazards too, and some of them we are able to work on. Take, for instance, societal pressure on the female kid not being sent to school by parents. But because we serve meals at school sometimes, that becomes the singular reason for the parents to actually send their girl child to the school. And that's a big transformational journey of taking out the obstacle. There are obstacles, weather, distance from the school, and their commute, and so on and so forth. Tools, devices, like for instance, 2 years of COVID, them going back to school, getting them connected to this educational process was tough. And Akshay Patra made its mission to ensure we could overcome all of these impediments with different kinds of offerings that we brought for them, from family kit so that the family was secure, from giving electronic devices, sometimes laptops and phones even, in the field so that the children could remain connected to education. So we try to take out all the obstacles, but the singular obstacle, which is the hunger, is what we focus on.
So this is another question I was going to ask Sri, and let me see if you can help me with this. So food insecurity is obviously a huge issue in India. Um, India alone shares a quarter of the global hunger burden. So while India made strides in improving these rates prior to COVID, it still had one of the highest child undernutrition rates in the world. So why do you think that was the case?
I think this is a tougher question, and I think our society at large, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi could probably give a better answer than Shri or me. However, I think the singular cause, I think, from my point of view and my understanding, is that years of historical context of the social development, urbanization and the wealth disparity, and opportunities. The government has come a long way. They have brought in the educational system to the doors of the rural existence of India. So we have moved a long, long way, but the hunger and malnutrition needs to go all the way to the last mile, to the home. And that is a problem that remains tough, but organizations like ours are indeed making a difference, albeit we are touching close to about 1.8 million lives, right? Because that's the number that we do every year. We have to do more, and the total number from a global point of view is about 300 million, and about 100 of it is in India. So this is everyone's challenge. And I know the UN to the Elon Musks of the world would love to eradicate it with the power of money, but it requires not just money, organization, and the channel to delivery to the last mile, and to keep sustainability in it. And those are the things which we as a nation are still working on, and it's still a long way to go.
So how do you think Akshay Patra's program assists in increasing attendance and retention rates while improving the nutritional outcomes of the disadvantaged?
This is a a very straightforward, well documented and studied topic. When the child is served the meal at school, and as I said earlier, the parents' participation, who might have had other opportunities to perhaps make money by putting the child to work or keeping them away from school to do some home chores, that goes absolutely 180 degrees, because now they are assured that the child will be well fed, and therefore the cost to the well-being of the child is no longer got to be borne by the parent. They absolutely want the kid to show up at school every day because the meal is guaranteed. And as we said earlier, the sometimes this meal is the singular meal, and that is what makes the attendance happen as a side effect. So we were starting this program to make sure that the child could study well. But actually, sometimes what we have discovered, and this has been documented in the attendance rolls of the schools where Akshay Patra is the meal provider, yeah, that the attendance and the graduation rates are phenomenal. And from a diversity point of view, the girl enrollment remains absolutely shoulder to shoulder to the boy. And so, these are in some ways unintended consequences of the phenomenal work that we as an organization have done. And I
have
think
you had
Shri
a chance to go
managed to
visit?
join
Okay,
us. Sorry,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. Shri's here now.
No,
So, Paul, I
okay,
think, you can see him.
okay. Well. If we're gonna be fair to Sri, then I'm gonna throw him questions that I was gonna throw to you. Okay, so
Absolutely, Paul. Go get it.
and I think he just dropped out. I think he heard that and he just left. He was like, "No, I'm not ready for
Okay.
that."
Okay. Not an issue.
Have you
I'm
had
always there.
have you had a chance to visit any of the AP centers in India?
This is where my 3 months of being with Akshay Patra has not allowed me the luxury, but I'm scheduled to go out in March and I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
But Sri has been our absolutely engaged and the longest term visitor, as well as participant, as well as worker at these school kitchens in India. And with that, Shri's back. So I'll let Shri answer this question. Shri, how many kitchens and schools have you served in India?
Your mic is off, so we have to turn the mic on. There you go. Is your mic on now?
We are truly a high tech company now, Paul. You,
That's
Shri, and
totally fine.
me.
We can just fill in the blanks. He can just mouth the words. We can just fill in what he's saying. How about we
All
do
right,
that?
I'll see your lip reading skills, Paul.
I think he's on it. Are you there? Suri, are you there? No, no, he's frozen. Okay, no. All
Now, I can
right,
give the answer.
let's go
I
back.
think
Let's go.
he's visited so many of them that he's forgotten the list, and I want to share a little bit on it. He is singularly working very hard today to work our next big project, which is the Chennai kitchen. So he's singularly working very, very hard with lots of committed folks to bring Chennai kitchen as well. So yeah, he literally lives in India and he's been there all the time.
Okay, so let's throw another question. Let's see. It might be he might be here. I think he's here. I hear him. Is he here? No. Okay. We'll wait till he interrupts us, and then we'll go. Um. So obviously, COVID-19 was terrible all across the world, but especially in developing countries. Can you tell us what happened in India and how it impacted education and nutrition for the most impoverished people, uh, and how Akshay Patra responded to the pandemic?
Perfect timing. Shree's here.
Okay. Uh, we're gonna.
There we
Can you
go.
hear me now? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we're good.
Loud
Good.
and
Wonderful.
clear.
Okay. Thank you so much. Would you mind repeating the question again, Naveen and Paul?
Well,
COVID.
let's rewind because here's the question I wanted to know: is how many? How often do you get to see the AP locations in India, like the centers in India?
I actually get to see them fairly often. I go back to India, quite often. And so over the course of the last couple of years, I've seen kitchens now in Bangalore, multiple. We have multiple kitchens over there. I've been to Hyderabad. I've been to the ones in Vrindavan. I've been to ones in Chennai. There are a couple of ones in Chennai. So I've had a chance to see these kitchens in operation during the pandemic. And so yeah, but we have 57 kitchens, so I have a long way to go before I complete my full tour of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so I've obviously you've met me before. I've performed at some of the events
Yes.
before, the live events before
Yes.
the pandemic. But
Absolutely right.
there was always a video showing what goes on in the kitchen and how busy it is. Basically, every morning,
Yes.
all the prep. Can you explain some of that? Because I don't know how else to
Yeah.
explain what I saw.
Yeah. So it's a pretty complicated operation, even though you might think of it as essentially all about cooking meals. But the activity starts at about 3 in the morning, whenever we're preparing midday meals. And so people are coming in, they're cleaning the vegetables, they're sorting the vegetables. Before that, the supply chain that's working in terms of vegetables and staples like rice and wheat, all of that is coming in. The equipment is getting fired up. And depending on which part of the country you're in, it's either the rice making machine or the idli making machine or the chapati making machine, right? So it depends on what part of the country you're in because we actually cater to different tastes. And then, you have these massive machines that are making all of this in a very clean, automated, hygienic way. And starting at about 7:30 or so in the morning, maybe it's between 7:30 and 8, you start seeing the prepared food getting loaded onto the trucks, these small vans that we have. And we have these special insulated containers where the food goes to the schools. And the idea is that the food needs to be served hot. There's a specific temperature, 65 degrees centigrade, at which the food needs to be served when it reaches a school. And so it reaches a school somewhere between 11:30 and 12:30. Lunch is typically around 12:30 and 1. And so the food needs to be hot when it gets there. It gets served to the children. There is what we in the industry, as many people will be familiar, is the reverse logistics of actually bringing all of the utensils, all of them mostly empty now, back to the kitchens for cleaning. And we have these high pressure, high temperature, cleaning sort of equipment that cleans all the stuff all over again and makes sure that it's ready for the next morning. And in the meantime, there's pressure washing of all the equipment that's happening to make sure it's completely hygienic. So that's a sense of what's going on during the day in the kitchen.
So since I asked some of the questions to Naveen that I was going to ask to you, so I'm going to ask some of the questions that I was going to ask
Sure,
to Naveen to you.
sure,
It's your issue now. So
sure.
speaking of COVID, so COVID-19 obviously had an effect all over the world. Can you tell us what happened in India and how it impacted education and nutrition,
Yeah.
and how AP responded to the pandemic?
Yeah, so there's been a huge drop in learning, in skills and learning over the course of the last couple of years for a variety of reasons. One is children are not going to school, and it's not just the fact that they're not going to school; they're not getting access to, teachers. They don't. In India, many of the places they don't have access to digital tools like you might expect to have in a place like the US. So they just don't have access to anything at all. So there's been a big learning deficit over the course of the last couple of years. What Akshaya Patra has done is switched very significantly to COVID relief. We got an update this morning. Naveen is aware of this, but we have served over 200 million meals over the course of the last 2 years since the beginning of the pandemic. And this has been focused not just on helping children, which we've also done. I'll come to that in a minute, but focusing in general, to the overall population. So we've utilized the kitchens to actually serve food for people who may have been unemployed or have been, really are finding it difficult to access food, for example. As far as children are concerned, we put these kits together that had 21 days of staples. So essentially, whether it's rice or wheat or cooking oil, a whole bunch of things that we put together. But in those boxes, we also added some learning materials like notebooks and pencils and erasers and so on, so that children would have the ability to actually have access to some of that. And so we put that into every care box, so to speak, that we then distributed around the country. The good news is that some of the states have started opening up, and we're seeing children going back to school. So we're hoping to see actually a pretty significant, a very quick return to midday meal programs over the course of the next month or so.
Okay. Uh, Sri, I'm sending it one more question, then I'm gonna take the pressure off you. But
Sure.
what is you kind of said a little bit about it, but what is AP's specific strategy to getting children back to school and boosting kitchen capacity back to 100%?
Yeah. So we believe that one of the reasons why children come to the schools that Akshay Patra serves is actually because of the food that we serve. It's not that the midday meals are a new concept in India. They've been around for many years in many states. But the difference is that the quality of the food that Akshay Patra serves is far superior to what they would typically get. And so, one of the reasons, if you talk to children who go to these schools where we serve the food, is that they actually look forward to the food that we serve them. It's not only hygienic and nutritious, but it's hot and it's filling. And so when we start opening up the kitchens, we want to make sure that we go back to the days when children are looking forward to getting served food from Akshay Patra. So as and when schools start reopening, we will make sure that that happens. That's number one. Number two is that we are actually, in the meantime, over the course of the last couple of years, we haven't been sitting still. So in India, we've increased capacity of the kitchens. We've added new kitchens. We've increased capacity in some areas. So we are going to be able to serve more children when they come back to the school. So it's not going to be hopefully the same number, which is about approximately 1.8 million children a day. We're hoping to increase that over the course of the next year or so.
I'm gonna throw a question that just came to my head, and both of you guys could answer. Um, there's a lot of people watching who are wondering why this should be a concern for them. They make good money, their family's fine, their immediate family is great, everything's great. They survived the pandemic. They have a great house in Orange County. They're doing wonderful. Why do we care about people that we don't know and don't see and aren't related to? So my parent, my mom, my dad's very active in the church. My mom was a nurse. My family's very about giving to other
Yeah.
people and not really taking. Explain why you two specifically care so much about people that you really don't even know. Let's be honest. Like it's a very empathetic way to look. You're asking people to give money to people they're not related to, that they're
Yeah.
not connected to, and to help a culture that they've been far from when they moved
Yeah.
here. How do you explain it? Why it's important to you? What? Whoever wants to start.
I'm happy to jump in, Naveen, and then you should take it from there. But essentially, I got involved with Akshay Patra many years ago because I felt like it was a compelling cause which had a very simple purpose, which was to eliminate hunger in children. And all of there are many people who might be listening who may have never experienced hunger. But for the children who go to the schools that Akshay Patra serves, this is a daily occurrence in their lives. For many of them, this might be the only nutritious meal that they get during the day. Many of them go back to homes where they don't really have access to food like this. And so this has a profound impact. And it's not just hunger, it's people who have experienced it will know that when you are hungry, you don't really think about anything else. And the idea behind Akshay Patra is that children shouldn't have to worry about hunger so that they can focus on the learning. Apart from that, the fact is that if a child doesn't get its nutritious load on a daily basis, it has an impact not just on physical development but also on cognitive development. And so when you look at the potential of children in India, and actually this is true for anywhere in the world, it's not just true for India, when a child doesn't get food on a regular basis, their cognitive development also gets impacted, and their learning abilities get severely impacted as you go forward in life. And so as you look at the productive capacity, of a people, a country, nation, whichever way you want to look at it, you're never going to realize the full potential of that unless you actually make sure the children develop to the fullest extent possible. And the starting point, we believe, is to make sure that children are fed and fed well so that they can then focus on their learning and development.
Naveen.
Thank you, Paul. I think I'll give you a little different perspective. Everything Shri said is the reason to do it. But for those who still need something different, I'll share a very different perspective. Our global society needs growth. Without growth, our governments would go bankrupt. Everybody is in debt. So, for growth, we need two things: consumers and talent. Guess what? Akshay Patra takes care of producing 1.8 million kids from school to be upright global citizens with talent and consumption both coming hand in hand online. And so, even from a totally non emotional perspective, for societal development and sustainability, this is a great opportunity for all of us to contribute to. And that's another reason, yet again, to support Akshay Patra.
So Naveen, can you speak? You were getting there. You were almost there, but like I was gonna follow up with. Can you speak to how Akshay Patra impacts an entire community?
I have a small story. We always use a line called, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
And Akshay Patra makes a child raise a village. And that's our impact
Okay.
story. So, uh, if that impresses and if that moves us, we should still support Akshay Patra.
All right. And then let me ask one more, well, a couple more questions. But Sri, can you tell us a little bit more about the technology that's employed in the kitchens at Akshay Patra?
Yeah, and I hope all the listeners have a chance to go see an Akshay Patra kitchen in action. And given the fact that we have 57 kitchens across the length and breadth of India, if any of you go back, there's a very good chance that there's a kitchen that's close to where you are. But essentially, it's very highly automated. Everything from the cleaning, let's say, of the vegetables or the cleaning of the rice, to the way the rice is made, to the way the rice is unloaded into the giant, vats then gets loaded onto the trucks. So all of it is actually, very highly automated. But that's only what you might see in a very visible way. But in most of the kitchens now, in a lot of the kitchens actually, we're now using things like technologies for water preservation, water conservation. We have solar for heating of the water because we need to heat the water, quite a bit for a lot of users, even for the use of the equipment itself. So there are a lot of things that we do to conserve energy in a sort of well before solar became the fashion. We had solar rooftops to make sure that we were using it for heating purposes. So there are many different technologies that we deploy. One of the great things is that there are so many companies, corporations in India that have come forward to help Akshay Patra in this mission, that they contribute their technology, their know-how, and their capabilities to really help us on this. A lot of the equipment, by the way, I must say. So, for example, if you go to the north, most of the kitchens have these giant roti making machines, and it's quite amazing to see, right? They make a large number of rotis every minute, and the machines have been completely fabricated by Akshay Patra, designed and fabricated by Akshay Patra. It's not like any other company has done it. And it's really fascinating to see it, to the extent that when the roti comes out, it's fluffed up, and there's a small machine at the very end that puts a drop of ghee just to make sure that there's a drop of ghee on every roti that goes out to the child. So it's not just, and it's completely automated. It's a fascinating sight to see.
Very cool. I think that covers it. Was there anything else that you guys wanted to tell anybody who's watching right now about why they should donate to Akshay?
No, I just want to give people a sense of the scale of or the magnitude of the issue, right? We are one of the largest NGOs in India, and when people hear about the fact that we serve 1.8 million children every day, they are impressed, and they should be, because the complexity of what Akshay Patra does day in and day out is actually pretty complicated. But the thing to keep in mind is, and Akshay Patra serves only children in government schools in India. There are somewhere in the range of 100 million children who go to these government schools. Akshay Patra is serving 1.8 million of them. And so there is a long way to go before we actually get to the point where every child in India gets hot, hygienic, nutritious food that incents them to come to school. So I just want to give that's, I think, one of the compelling reasons to do more in this area.
Well, if I could just say, I think, nation building, societal building, and actually seeing the impact, small little step is for a very, very noble cause, from health to development to successful citizen of the world. And therefore, I think everybody who remembers children, who remember education, or they remember India, they should all absolutely, absolutely, unequivocally support Akshay Patra.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time out. Apologize for any technical delays, and I added a couple of questions that weren't on script. So I hope I didn't throw you off too much. But thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, thank you so much. No, thank you so much for doing it. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's very heartwarming to hear all the schools are opening back up again in India, and the children are getting back to school and receiving the hot, nutritious, and tasty meals so they can concentrate on their education. Akshay Patra reminds us education is a right for all children and is the key to breaking the cycle of poverty. Over the next few minutes, we'll hear from some of our young and inspirational youth volunteers. But before we go to that, here's a quick quiz to see who was listening. How much does it cost to feed one child for an entire year? And if you said $20, you were correct. Now, let's hear from Sneha Yamanchili, an AP Youth Ambassador, or YA for short, who was working on establishing a formal Youth Ambassador chapter in Southwest Indiana. Youth ambassadors are young, committed activists between the ages of 8 and 21 years old who serve as the voices of the millions of underprivileged children in India. Sneha is a senior in high school and is really passionate about promoting the health of her community, both locally and globally, whether that means analyzing public health issues to enhance our understanding of possible solutions or protecting access to valuable fundamental human rights like food and education. So here is Sneha.
Hello, my name is Sneha Yalamanchli, and I'm one of the Akshaya Patra Youth Ambassadors. Though my personal involvement with Akshaya Patra began relatively recently, I've been concerned with issues of global hunger, especially childhood hunger, since a relatively young age. Fundraising to provide meals to children overseas through birthday fundraisers and through other programs that pledge dollars to anti-hunger organizations. As a result, I am thrilled to be a part of the Akshaya Patra family, working to eliminate classroom hunger, counter classroom malnutrition, and support the right to education. I'm continually inspired by the mission and purpose of our organization, as well as the outcomes achieved by Akshaya Patra family members locally, nationally, and globally. Akshaya Patra's successes with the midday meal scheme and others, as well as the continuing drive of every Akshaya Patra family member I have encountered, attest to the scale of the problem we are addressing and the immense, limitless possibilities for success in the coming year and the many to follow it. We are met with a colossal problem and we respond with initiative and faith. And I think that is that drive, that capacity to continue aiming higher and higher, that makes me most proud of my role as an Akshaya Patra family member. Thank you.
Thank you, Sneha, for being an ambassador for the AP Children. Before we move on to our next performance, do you know that Akshay Patra currently has over 5,000 employees worldwide, serving over 19,000 schools all across India? And that is truly incredible. All right, so next I invite you to listen to the soothing sounds of the jaltarang. The jaltarang is one of the most rarely heard instruments today. It is one of the oldest instruments in the world, which consists of china bowls filled with water and struck by means of two cane sticks. Our next performance is by the jaltarang aficionado Milan Tulankar. Born and brought up in a family with musical backgrounds, Milanji started learning music from a very tender age. His grandfather, the late Pandit Shankar V. Kanhari, who was a famous jaltarang player, influenced Milan in taking up this unusual, very rare instrument. He is now one of the topmost jaltarang players of India. He has shared his talent and has performed at concerts in India and all abroad. He did the background scores for the Tamil film, and bear with me, I'm Malayali, so I may mess this up, Tirumanam Enam Nika, and a BBC production film, West is West. Milan is indeed a name and a synonym for the untiring efforts, devotion, and endless passion in pursuit of promoting the Jaltarang. So please welcome Milan Tulankar.
Namaskar. Good evening to everybody. Today's program I am going to dedicate to Bharat Ratna Lataji Mangeshkar. I am going to play one or two songs sung by Lataji and very famous songs. I was very fortunate to meet her and I presented my watercolor portrait to her. And today I am going to start my program with a very famous song sung by Lataji, ऐ मेरे वतन के लोगों. Two lines from very famous song sung by Lata Mangeshkar ji. नाम गुम जाएगा, चेहरा ये बदल जाएगा, मेरी आवाज़ ही पहचान है, गर याद रहे. just remembered one more song was composed by very famous music director Babuji Sudhirji Phadke. It was sung by Lata Mangeshkar also.
All right, thank you, Milanji, for sharing Jaltarang with us. While you were waiting to join into the event, that was the music that you were hearing beforehand. And before I forget, do you know that it only costs only $2,000 to feed a school for an entire school year, and that Akshay Patra runs the largest school feeding program in the world? So I don't know about all of you, but I love hearing how the youth here in America are helping out Akshay Patra. And so we have another youth ambassador's testimony about AP. This is Rishabh Yanala, who is also another ambassador, and he's part of the Philadelphia chapter. He's in the 10th grade at Parkland High School in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and he believes in having a growth mindset and a positive mental attitude. So let's hear from Rishabh.
Hi, I'm Rashaab. I'm a sophomore studying at Parkland High School located in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. I'm a very proud youth ambassador for the Akshaya Patra Foundation. I first learned about Akshaya Patra in the summer of 2019 when I was visiting my grandparents in Hyderabad. I was looking for an organization to donate the money I had received from my family and friends for my birthday. My cousin told me about Akshaya Patra, and I did some online research and contacted the local volunteer. And he took me to look at the local girls' government school and explained the process and purpose of that day meal program. And I was also able to serve food and understand the impact of the program firsthand, which was really important. Once I returned to the US, I really wanted to continue volunteering for Akshaya Patra, and I joined a prestigious organization as a youth volunteer, but was unable to do much in 2020 due to the COVID crisis. In 2021, I decided to organize a local charity cricket tournament with the help of my parents. I was able to secure a cricket ground and 4 teams which participated and donated money. It was a successful event, and I enjoyed organizing it thoroughly. In 2022, I would like to organize a similar cricket tournament with even more teams. And my experience as a youth ambassador has taught me much compassion and helped me understand the satisfaction you get when you help others. It also helped me understand the importance of providing food and education to the underprivileged, as this will lead to a better society and it will help everyone in total. Thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, Rishabh. You're doing amazing work, and I know you're inspiring other youths out there to get involved with AP. So, by the way, did you also know that it only costs only 50,000 US dollars to fund a typical kitchen for an entire month for AP? By supporting and being part of the Akshay Patra family, you truly are making an impact by helping the dreams of these children become a reality. You can make donating to Akshay Patra a family challenge. Get the kids involved and see who can raise the most amount of money in the family. Or whatever the kids raise, maybe the parents match it. Speaking of kids, our next youth ambassador duo are both in 10th grade and are looking forward to spreading more awareness about Akshay Patra through this event and other events in the future. So let's listen to our Los Angeles Youth Ambassador chapter members, Araya Aurora and Anya Desai.
Hello, my name is Anya Desai.
And I'm Ari Aurora, and we are the LAU chapter leads.
We became involved with Akshay Patra in the spring of last year.
Both of our parents have been donating to Akshay Patra for the past few years and informed us of the opportunity of becoming youth ambassadors.
After learning more about the charity and its amazing mission, we became eager to begin fundraising and raising awareness about it.
We have had both successful fundraising and awareness events.
We've learned a lot from these experiences and are planning on carrying this information forward into our events for this year.
A great example of this is the popular Diya event, which is successful in several ways.
We gained a lot of youth volunteers who were excited to help us paint diyas, and by doing so, we also raised awareness. We found the high demand and interest for diyas with many more orders than we expected.
This is why we plan to prepare for this event on a much larger scale in the coming year. We plan to begin painting diyas months in advance to give us an ample amount of diyas to sell.
Akshay Patra has provided a sense of fulfillment for us, and we feel grateful for the opportunity to give back to the community.
Not only this, but we have also been able to learn the responsibilities involved with being leaders of an organization.
We would love to visit India and see the kitchens and schools very soon. This way, we can see the tremendous impact Akshay Patra has had on the students.
Thank you so much for your support in our mission, and we feel so lucky to be a part of Akshay Patra.
Thank you, Aria and Anya, for all the activities you've coordinated in LA. Next, we have a short video about Akshay Patra itself, so sit back and enjoy.
Akshaya Patra means the unlimited bowl of abundance and sustenance. We are the driving force to eradicate classroom hunger in India, often providing the only meal a child receives in a day. Beginning in 2000, Akshaya Patra started by serving 1,500 meals to a small group of local schools in Bengaluru, India. Today, the organization boasts world-class, highly efficient kitchens that can cook up to 250,000 hot meals within 6 hours.
Akshay Patra has brought together some of the best engineers to ensure that hot food is available in the required quantities to serve a large number of children to address this problem of child hunger in school.
ಪಕ್ಕದ ಮನೆಯವರೊಬ್ಬರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಕ್ಷಯ ಪತ್ರ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು. ಅವರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ರು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಊಟ ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಅದು ಸಹ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ತುಂಬ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಬಡ ಮಕ್ಕಳು, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಊಟ ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಆವಾಗ ನಂಗೆ ಅನಿಸಿತ್ತು ನಾನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇರಬೇಕು, ನಾನು ಆ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನನ್ನದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೇವೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತ ಅನಿಸಿತ್ತು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇರಿಕೊಂಡೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ನನಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಇದೆ.
We source local produce and transport hot nutritious meals in custom designed vans.
ನಾವು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೂ ಸರಿಯಾದ ಸಮಯಕ್ಕೆ ಊಟ ತಲುಪಿಸಿದರೆ ಆ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗದಂತೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಿಸಿ ಊಟನೇ ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿ ವಿದ್ಯಾಭ್ಯಾಸ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗ್ತೈತೆ, ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವ್ರ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣವನ್ನು ಪಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗ್ತೈತೆ. ಅದೊಂದು ಗುರಿ ನಮಗೆ.
कुछ ना कुछ आता रहता है, जैसे सोमवार को यानी मंडे को कुछ ना अलग, जैसे दाल सब्जी रोटी, कोई बार वो येलो कलर की रोटी वो बहुत अच्छी लगती है, उसमें अजवाइन.
It remains the mission for Akshaya Patra that no child in India shall be deprived of education because of hunger.
अक्षय पात्र संस्थान बीते 18 वर्षों से देश के बचपन को पोषक आहार देने का असाधारण सेवा का है, अतुलनीय समर्पण का है. ये हमारे उन संस्कारों का विस्तार है जो हजारों वर्ष की महान परंपरा ने हमें सौंपे हैं.
Anybody who is fighting against hunger, anybody who is providing food to the hungry is doing something very noble.
People often don't give because nobody they respect asks them. They don't think they can make a difference, and they don't see the results. What you see with this program is the opposite. If from 2000 it's going from feeding 1,500 meals per day to 1.8 million meals. That is 1,000% increase, and it is really making a difference.
Here's an organization where if you gave just $20, that's enough to feed a child and keep them in school for a whole year. And it's so little out of your resources that can make such a huge impact on somebody else's life. that I think everybody should get involved.
So for all of those who are watching this, I suggest that you find some fulfillment and joy, love and equanimity by getting involved in any way that you can with Akshaya Patra.
By the way, did you know that Akshay Patra started 22 years ago feeding 5,000 children in just one state? They now run 60 kitchens in 13 states and 2 union territories, feeding 1.8 million people every single day. So our last youth ambassador for the evening is working on a project she would like to share with you, and hopefully all of you can help her. Ria Pai is a youth ambassador in the South Florida charter. She's currently a junior high school and looking for ways to help her local and cultural community. Ria said, "I feel honored to be able to work with AP since they strive to eliminate classroom hunger throughout India." Ria is very creative and can't wait to use her talents and skills, including playing various instruments, dancing, cooking, and writing, to find innovative ways to raise awareness for AP and further help the organization. So let's listen to Ria.
Hi, my name is Ria Pai, and I'm a teen living in Tampa Bay. I'm also a youth ambassador for Akshay Patra, and I'm working with them to start a Tampa charter for the youth in my community. Before starting that, I've really been looking at starting a project of my own that is going to help to both raise awareness for the amazing work that Akshay Patra does for so many children throughout India, and also to raise funds which I can then donate to Akshay Patra and allow them to continue doing this work and reach all of their goals for this year. My project that I've decided to start is a community cookbook. So this cookbook is going to be a great way to bring the community of Akshay Patra together and to really do some great work for the organization in a simple way in which everybody can contribute something small. This cookbook will work to integrate the recipes of my community and a much broader Akshay Patra community with information about the work that Akshay Patra does, their goals, and also the stories of the children that they've helped. So all I need from you are the recipes. It's really simple. I've created a Google form that I would really love if you guys would check out and fill out. It'll only take a few minutes. And if you have recipes, whether they're your own childhood recipes, your favorite recipes, recipes that you hold an emotional connection to, or even something that you can connect to Akshay Patra, I would love for you to send them in to help me create and put together this cookbook. So visit the link to the Google form I've created if you don't mind, and put in your recipes, fill out the information, and I will put together this cookbook that we will then market and sell to the community and be able to make a profit, which I will then donate to Akshay Patra. So thank you so much for helping me out with this amazing opportunity, and please share it with anybody you know, friends, colleagues, family, whoever that would also be willing and have some great recipes to share. It really means a lot. Thank you for helping out.
Thank you, Ria, and all of the youth ambassadors for telling us why they donate their time to serving the children of Akshay Patra. As I said earlier, your support is inspirational to us, and if you are interested, in sending Ria a recipe or two, we will have the link in our chat room, and we'll have a QR code to scan at the end of this event. So if anyone also is interested in becoming a youth ambassador, please reach out to Mike Sadal at Mike, M-I-K-E, at apusa.org. Mike at apusa.org. Contact information will be posted at the end of the presentation and be available in the chat room as well. And the next person I'd like to introduce is Paresh Wawal. an Indian actor, comedian, film producer, and politician known for his works, notably in Hindi films. In '94, he won the National Film Award for Best Supporting Actor for his performances in the film Wo Chokri and Sir. Rawal made his debut with the 1980 film Arjun in a supporting role, and it was a 1986 blockbuster Naam that established him as an actor with great talent. He then appeared in over 100 films throughout the 1980s and 90s, mostly as the main villain. Rawal was perceived as a character actor by both audiences and critics until the 2000 Bollywood cult classic Hera Peri, after which he starred in many Hindi mainstream films as a lead actor or main protagonist. On the 10th of September 2020, he was appointed as the chief of the National School of Drama by the President of India. And I apologize if I messed up any of these names. I'm Malayali, I don't know. Thank you very much. So anyway, I invite Paresh Rawal to give us his closing remarks.
Namaskar from India and greeting from Paresh Rawal. I'm very glad to be here on your New Year, New Possibilities event today. I've been an ardent supporter of Akshay Patra for many years now. Akshay Patra is feeding 1.8 million children every day in India with freshly cooked hot meal. This is truly commendable. In one of my messages to TV Asia, I had said that when you were a child, when you were a young school-going child, mother used to always ask, Beta, did you eat? Now just imagine there are thousands of children who doesn't have this privilege. And this august audience who is living in comfort and luxury can afford to feed many of those children. Even in COVID times, the times were bad, even though Akshay Patra came forward and served needy and poor 216 million food packets were served to this date. 216 million. Now that's a staggering figure. Hats off to Akshay Patra. In one of the gala last year, I had said that there is a popular saying in Hindi, Dane dane pe likha hai khane wale ka naam. I would like to add in that, Dane dane pe likha hai khane wale ka naam aur khane khane pe likha hai dene wale ka naam. Aapka naam, Akshay Patra ka naam, donors ka naam. As they say in gala, take out your checkbooks. Checkbooks, my friend, kis zamane ki baat karte ho? Take out your credit card. Yeah, take out your credit card and charge it to the full limit. Donate generously. Even a penny in support of education is worth $1 million. Donate generously. Jai Akshay Patra. Jug Jug Jiyo Akshay Patra. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Paresh. And thank you all for joining us this evening, and we hope you had fun and were inspired to be a part of the Akshay Patra family. In the next few slides, you will find information about how to contact us and donate, and also to send your recipes for Ria's cookbook project. So thank you very much, and have a great week. Thank you for joining us.